Missions Pulse. Know God's heart, join his mission.
Okay, let's take away coronavirus. Let's take away COVID-19, right? I thought we were living in a post-Christian or semi-post-Christian society. How is it that people's hearts are so open to these kinds of things?
Oh, yeah, this is one of my questions I love to answer, because I think it is the principle of the harvest, is that in Matthew 9:36-38, Jesus saw the crowds. He had compassion on them because they were harassed and helpless like sheep without a shepherd. Then he said to his disciples, "The harvest is plentiful, the laborers are few. Ask the Lord of the harvest to send out laborers into his field." And this is something actually years ago, it was a shift in my mind that happened as I was reading Church Planting Movements by David Garrison. It's like a classic missions book. And this idea of sowing broadly with the gospel, just this broad sowing, sharing with a lot of people, just find the ripe. And that was something that clicked for me. Also read T for T around that time.
Yep.
And
Ying-Kai.
Yeah,
David
Ying-Kai.
Garrison, maybe.
David Garrison, Ying-Kai. And I remember reading those books and thinking, how can we apply that to my context, which is a college, state school, university in California.
Yeah.
And the principle that God's used the most in our ministry is that this concept of sowing broadly. This whole thing is, we say, the problem's not with the harvest is plentiful.
Yeah.
The problem is the lack of laborers. And so there are people there right now that if someone got into their lives, loved them, prayed for them, and shared the gospel with them, they would come to Christ.
So
that's just true.
So what I hear you saying is, we often can use this crutch or almost excuse of a post-Christian society and kind of hang out in the background waiting for things to happen. But you're saying we need to open door. You often hear this statement. It says, preach the gospel at all times, and when necessary, use words, right? St. Francis of Assisi. Hey, you got to use words, man. I understand what he was getting at, but the gospel comes through human vocabulary. And if it's not contextualized to the hearer for them to kind of catch it, man, how are they ever going to know?
Yes. And we love the idea is going low pressure, relational, just, hey, giving lots of people lots of opportunities. And we have no agenda but love, And so when we go out on campus, our goal is to talk to as many students as possible, invite them into our community. And then everyone that comes to like a social, so for example, our college campus has about 16,000 students. Wow. And in the beginning of the school year, we talked to about 6,000 of those.
Are you serious?
So yeah. So we have face to face.
Wow.
We call them 30-second surveys. And so it's just a super way to engage the person and discover if they're interested at all in our group that's named Christian Challenge. So they have, so we're not trying to hide anything.
Yeah.
But we are doing social events, a lot of fun activities. And then we also have a large group meeting. And so they're coming to these social events, and because college students, they're looking for friends and they're looking for fun. And so they want to know where the party's at. So if fraternities can rush, why can't we, because we want to do, so we did like a bunch of different outreach events. And then at those events, our students and staff would set up gospel appointments.
Cool. Yeah.
So and basically we just say, hey, it'd be great to get to know you better, tell you more about what Christian Challenge is all about. And you want to grab lunch or coffee sometime? So it's college campus is a great place. It's a recruitment culture. So every club, every fraternity is setting up appointments. And they're trying to make sure you're cool enough to join their fraternity, or the community service organization wants to make sure you're not crazy so you can help sick puppies. It's like, it's part of the culture especially on a college campus. But I think we've seen gospel appointments work anywhere. Is you start a spiritual conversation and then you take it to this other context, lunch, coffee, tea, whatever culture you're in. And that provides an opportunity where it gives you more time to engage the conversation and slow down and not rush the conversation. And it emphasizes the importance of it also.
When I first heard about gospel appointments, it was you and your brother David I think, expounding on it. And I think you can find it in a number of different places, but where I saw it was gospelappointments.com, I think, right? And in a moment, we're going to give some shameless plugs, find out how to follow you and find all these great resources. My head is kind of ringing right now with all these ideas as you point all these things out. I think it's awesome. Going back a little bit, I love the fact that you're talking multiplication. I don't think we talk so often about addition, right? 1, 2, a family here gets saved, or most of our salvations and new church members are generally disgruntled members from a church down the road, right? We're not talking about multiplicative kind of salvation happening. And so for me, I mean, I've been living outside of America for 23 years. So your context is one that I look into from the outside. And I often hear the post-Christian society world, and you're reading books by Yin Kai, David Garrison, T for T, and about multiplication, DMM, disciple making or disciple multiplication movements. Right. You're saying this is happening. This can take place in the American context, specifically during coronavirus?
Oh, yes. And the principles apply. I mean, if the principles are biblical, they'll apply. And so we've seen, like, for example, we saw over 150 students pray to receive Christ this school year. And it's been mainly through students leading other students to Christ. Wow. And so that's one of the keys, is that rapid, like Steve Addison says, like rapid mobilization. So our goal is to, if we lead a student to Christ, we want to train them up, disciple them, help them get to the place where they're sharing their faith within a year, from lost to laborer in at least 1 year.
I love that idea. I'm sorry to pause you right there, but when you say that phrase, from lost to laborer within a year, it sounds so Acts 29 to me.
Yes. And I love it, because new believers are the best people in the world to share their faith.
Totally.
Because they have the most non-Christian friends. They don't know it's not normal to share the gospel.
Yeah. We slowly learn that over time, right, in the church.
So I love to give them that experience right from the start. So it's, the whole MALL acrostic: model, assist, watch, and leave. MALL. And I love that idea, because I'm still trying to model it by sharing the gospel. And so I set up gospel appointments, but I will bring a new believer with me and let him play wingman, is what I call it.
Yeah.
Let him just watch.
Totally reworking those words, right, in the Christian context and the campus.
Yes. We're redeeming it. Okay. We're trying to redeem a lot of these things. Frat parties, we're going to redeem. Wingman, we're going to redeem. And so he just watches while I engage the person, while I share the gospel. I might ask him to share a testimony, but he sees that. And, when you see someone come to Christ for the first time, or you see a gospel encounter, there's something inside you, if you're a follower of Christ, that just says yes.
Yeah.
This is what I'm made for. And then they say, hey, we shared the gospel and no one died.
Yeah. Is that what we really think in the church? Is that what we're so afraid of? People are going to die? What is this terrible fear that we're expecting? Embarrassment?
I think it's awkwardness. This culture is afraid of awkwardness. And
so you're saying embrace the awkward, or what is it? What's your theme?
Yeah. We tell them awkward conversations change lives.
Wow. Okay. So I almost envision you taking like awkward family photos after you guys get together and meet these people after awkward conversations.
Yes. But you think about it, every great conversation that you've had was a little awkward. Like when you asked, when I asked my wife out, like that was an awkward conversation, right? But it changed my life.
Oh yeah.
And so we're trying to be as least awkward as possible, but there's something about like getting across the coffee shop table, having that conversation, sharing the full gospel, giving someone a chance to respond to Christ, and asking the golden question: would you like to make Jesus Lord of your life right now? And then zipping the lip. I've been around Steve Shadrach a lot.
I knew you were going to mention that.
And he wrote the God Ask, and that's how they train missionaries to raise support. But I think that same principle, support appointment, is what a lot of people do to raise support for missions. I think the gospel appointment is kind of the same principle, and it can be low pressure, relational, loving, and it can be great for a follow-up, even if the person doesn't come to Christ. You're kicking that relational evangelism friendship.
Missions Pulse. Know God's heart, join his mission. This podcast is powered by Within Reach Global. Subscribe, watch, and listen on YouTube today. Visit missionspulse.com.